And the first thing I put down here, we lived off the road from East Wilton, back road to Dryden. And we used to go to school close down, and my sisters went with us, and good day, good storm, my father would take us kids, and I've seen the day when they would eat in the sleigh when we got to the school. And another thing in regard to the schools, the boys in the primary school and in the grammar school had to shovel a little path out to the toilet out back. They didn't have any accommodation as they do nowadays. And then breaking roads. That's quite a lot different years ago than it is now. And my father and Jesse Fletcher broke the road down below his turn. That's down below where you come from Dryden and make a turn left to come to East Wilton. Down there and broke down to East Wilton. And they always went down by the cemetery, and they took pains to break the road out round by the tomb where they put the people. They don't get down there now. But anyway, they had a turn there, and it was good. Then I put a few personal things I used to do. Perhaps they aren't like town, but then in the spring one time, we had 6 maple trees near our house, but over in the woodlot was more pretty good maples. And after I come home from school, I then tapped about 15 trees, and I had a pair of yearling heifers I used to yoke up and take a 10-gallon can and tie it on the slope and gather the sap. And we used to go skating down on the frog pond the first of winter before the snow got deep. And there on the close to the road, you should go along from East Wilton up through the woods and down towards Dryden. One year before I went in the army, I'm getting some too personal, I know, but these things happen. I hauled to the woolen mill. They had some men cutting wood up on the hill at Dryden. I used to haul it down, and in the office I'd see who wanted wood delivered that day. I delivered about 5 cards a day, and there was one street we called Polo. Probably a few of you can remember that. And all those folks out there had to have wood. They were coal too, and they had a lot of birch edges there, and those where the mill was, up by the height of land there.
The Hilda's Mill, yeah.
And that's way up by the height of land towards 12. We used to go up, some days we'd go up there and haul edgings down, and when we get up there, I'd leave home about 5 o'clock, and we'd go up there and get there about 9:30, put horses in the barn. While they were eating, we'd load the sled and come down. And sometimes we'd leave it at the mill and it'd build up the surplus down on the ball field. You know where that was, down on Davis Court? Down, I guess it's covered with houses now. But anyway, some days they didn't have much coal, and all I did was to haul birch edgings from the ball field to the mill. And I know one day I was up there hauling, and at noon, it was 26 below zero in Stanley's store there with the depot. I didn't uncover the horses all day. And we used to get short of water up on the farm sometimes, and when my father was sick and I was doing chores, but I hauled water for the cattle. I had 3 barrels on a sled, and of course we only made 1 trip a day, so the road wasn't too good. We'd come out down through the woods to get on the Peace Pond, and I had a little hole chopped in the ice, and I'd fill the barrels and water the horses. Come back, unload it, move it from the farm floor in those barrels into some barrels that had back of the cows where it wouldn't freeze. Another thing, this one's different. We used to go sliding down here. There's a double runner over somebody, boy, down the, when you go up the street, Temple Street, what we call Second Rise. That's about the college buildings up there. And go down across Main Street in East Wilton and go down over the bridge and under the railroad track. And we had a great time. Not didn't go fast, but we had good slides. Of course, there wasn't much traffic then, but if there was much, one of us would stay down there on the street to stop people when they heard us coming.
You talked about that.
I don't know whether I've got everything in it. One morning, that's up on the farm after they had left off breaking roads with horses, a mechanical one, or just one in town, the first one they had. And one morning, we got waked up and we heard noise on the kitchen stove. And when I went out to see what the trouble was, Don McKee and Wilton Maine building a fire, 4:03 in the morning, and the thing had played out back toward the Guy Pease's out there next to the orchard. So they built the fire, and I went back to bed, and they stayed for daylight, and they went out and worked on the engine, breaking roads. The breaking roads, I used to break up on the farm after I was growing. Guy Pease and I broke down to the village. 4 horses, we'd put a stick under the front sled. Sometimes down the shovel, because there'd be a drift on one side of the road, and we had to keep it level. But we scraped it down, pushed it down best we could. We got along somehow, but it was nothing what to do now. I don't know, probably some more things that I should think of, but I don't right now.
Did Wilton ever have those great big rollers?
Yeah, they had them, but they never used them much. I don't know why. They used to put 6 on and haul it around.
I can remember one going up over J Hill when I was tiny.
Yeah. I don't know. I know one can get a storm down below my barn there. I can stand on the snowdrift and touch the telephone wire. And they come down to that snowplow, and of course it's kind of one-sided. Throw it over here, and I'd throw it out, and he'd probably take it a little more, 2 or 3 feet. I worked there all the forenoon, cleaning that hill out. Changed now.
Well, did you grow up?
Well, we lived over on the back road from East Wilton to Dryden.
East Wilton. You know where the...
A little off that road.
On Route 2, you mean? Right near Route 2?
No, it's Route 2. It's the old road to Dryden. And there was a bad hill. We lived off the roadway. There was a bad hill and it used to drift. So in the winter, most always, we made a road out through the field. And you know, the day before I went in the army, it was rather nice that hill out. So because it was warming up then in the mill.
Yeah, so you could use the road.
Oh, but I know we kept busy.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I won't give you any more. Probably not better. There's one thing about me, I can't read. And so all I'm going to tell you tonight, I get up here and then it was damn late. I got mine more of storms with it than perhaps Cliff told what he done. I'd be ashamed to tell you some things I'd done. Boy. I'm going to start in. When I was 3 years old, I had pneumonia and made up all winter. And I think I'm right. I think that's the year my wife was born. And I wound up on the blue. And Perkins come in there in the afternoon. He come up to Joe Noyes up the hill pond, and he put the horse and those 2 in. He stayed in there 3 days. I can remember as I lay in bed there, him and my mother said, "Oh, what a storm, what a storm, what a storm." And it was 3 or 4 days, I guess, as I can remember. Then I'm going to tell you, when I was about 8 or 9 years old, we were eating supper there one night, and Mother said, "I think in my mind, I am not going to see out of the window in this kitchen if he keeps on." I can't tell you, probably 2 days. I get up Sunday morning, well, I got to tell you about bath, especially.
Oh, Saturday night.
We used to have to take, Saturday night, we get the wash tub out, put the stove up the oven door. I go out and get the stove hot. And this night, it was a cold night, and I said to Father, I got one stove cover red hot. I said, try and get the other one. I'm going to take a bath after you get up. Take a bath, get up Sunday morning, Mother said, I can't see out the door, I can't see out the window in this kitchen. So I got on clothes and I went out. I get out front door. The window bubbled up away from me. I shoveled up the door. Shoveled out one window for breakfast. Get breakfast, shoveled out. I can't tell you too much about breaking in because I want, well, I don't think I helped him much as going to school anyway. Then I went to push along to about a year before I was married, probably about 1910. We had 8 big oxen that I drove all winter. And in February, been about the first part of February, we had an awful snowstorm. And we used to, we work every road every day but 2. And one day it rode so we didn't get a team out, and the next day I don't know. But I never would all that week. And I know Father had mother, he was laid up, had mother write in his diary. February has been a tough, I'm glad to see it gone. And we used to put on, well, quite a lot of oxen, they had features, but I used to take, anyway, 4, 6, 8, 10 bulls and oxen that I did. Give it a big storm. Well, when Elma, my uncle, took the mail route drive, in them days to deliver your mail, I had to get it to them. Because Dan Noyes lived 3 miles. I'm talking about what you call now the road. And Dan Noyes lived up the further end of it. So when Elma couldn't make it, he'd leave the father, the gut father, didn't have to go down the main road and take it all up. And I know one night, the other lived on that street, So one night I'm going up on snowshoes there, and I got up to this house, and she said, "Look, I'll put my snowshoes on, and I'll go with you." I said, "Okay." So we went up, and Dan just taking mess biscuit out the oven when we got in there. My God, Dan said, "What you up here for at night?" I said, "Bring your mail up." "Don't you do that no more." I said, "What do you think? I like to go out snowshoeing a good-looking girl." "Well, yeah, that's all right," he said, "but leave the mail home." We sat there and had a hot biscuit and honey. It was pretty good. I didn't give it in cab. I had to take the mail every night. So we had a pretty good time there. Then I got married. Second winter after I was married in 15. There's a young lady from New Hampshire, wanted to come aboard, going to teach school down there. So Maud, it was something about took her that old house, you really wouldn't want to live in that house. We were just married, but we kept on. We had a good soap on stove.
I remember your wife well too.
Good.
She was my Sunday school teacher.
All right, she got $12 a week. She paid us 3. I'm going to show you now on them days. I think I will. One morning there, there was a storm in there. I had marks in the truck. And I coming back about 5:30. Had a few chores to do. And then my God, it stormed all night. And this is enough of wind. Want too much snow, maybe foot and a half. And we come into breakfast, and Nestle said that the school teacher said, "I got on your pants this morning." It was good. And he said, "I got your wife's rubbers on." Well, I said, "You ain't going down to school by any means?" "Yeah, sure I'm going down to school. That's why I got them on." Well, I said, "Well, I guess I better tell you, I don't think you're going to find very good walking." Well, we got along all right. Got out the road, hospital, so all right, and got off the main road down through there. So, most of the way, it was pretty good. The snow blowed right out. But down that below the Coney Eaton place where Judge Fish lives now, that little band, it was shifted in. Well, I'm not paying much attention to the damn hospital. He worked over, see, and he got on the outside, I tipped over. Well, I didn't mind that in the end because I was on top, see. We picked ourselves up and got out of school. It was drifted like the devil that is. You turn and go into school out, the late half maple tree and covered it up. And she grabbed the shovel and it wasn't very bad on the school. Give me a school out there. Oh God, she banked the fire up good, had a little big stove there, and had a nice bit of coals and buff stove, got the fire going. Now I said, if I don't leave any children coming home, my wife down and get you. She said, "Oh, don't come before 10 o'clock. Anyway, you don't need to come, I can walk back over." Well, so I got up there, only eating. Jimmy was out there, shoveling load, he was a little kid. And I did go to school. There, Jimmy. Yep. I got up with a fella and I met John Livingstone kids, two of them, some of the working kids. And pretty soon I met Townsend kids, two of the Noyes kids. I think side by God. Well, they was all there at school except two. Well, that's to show you what kids done. Them days. Well, how far they got now?
I got school.
They got school. About 5 years, we lived up there about 5 years, lived on the Savage place. I didn't keep too many oxen then. All the last 3 years I was up there probably. Then I bought more land and quite a bunch of land and cut for a little lumber. And this was in February. And coming off the storm there, we had about 3 feet of snow anyway. Then there comes the storm, 2 feet of it, and it was a damp snow. Well, I had a lot of men there working. We had 18 oxen we was working, and we didn't have too many for them. That don't make any difference. But Paul just started in school first year, and Lauren Dyke, he's one of the ox teachers there. He said, "Paul, you ain't going to school today, are you?" Yep. He said, "You can't do it. It's 2 feet of snow. You can't walk through it. I ain't going to walk." "How are you going?" "I'm going to take you on my skis or snowshoes." Well, mother put up quite a holler about him, but he decided to go to school. I didn't let him, he wanted to go. So he went to school. Well, we yoked up. I told Paul, I said, probably we'll break the road out the sandstorm too hard. So I had a V, take 4 plank and make a V. Well, it's quite heavy. And I had some shoes, I changed the forward end up to the sled, so bring it up. We didn't want straight snow all out, see, because we was steaming. Big, and we hooked up, I guess 12, 14 oxen. We went down through with that, so Paul had to come home all right. Come on. But I think in them days, maybe kids had a little more energy, maybe. You get to school and have to do it day. And you didn't have to build no gymnasium from backside, must not drive much home. I don't know if I'm going to tell you, I don't be too much interested to you probably. I tell you a lot of things maybe, but got someone who's done on here.
About the cheese box.
Cheese box? How about it?
A lot of people don't know
I remember
that we ever had one.
I remember when they made cheese there. I think I think my father was being at Bridget. I think he bought a harrow off me. I think one time. I'm very sure they made cheese out of that. I was just a kid, maybe 2 years old. I can't think about it. Some good times in that cheese box. I have. Some other things. So you have to. Yeah.
I remember visiting box.
Yeah.
And they had Grange meetings.
The Grange, I can't sound tell you. I ought to. When did the Grange go up there, Phil? Up the cheese box. You don't, well, I don't know. But anyway, we used to have a lot of dances there. And my wife and I was on the committee with 2 other people. I know one thing here, you know, we did do. And then they had a little cider drink for one. And,
Soft.
Avis Knowles and Josiah and Maud and I was on this committee. Well, Josiah played the fiddle. And Maud, she liked dance pretty good. Just said to Maud, she said, "You and Josiah go up there, you dance, or do anything you want. I'm going to make your oyster stew." I got, sit down, man. And David said, "Now, Clare, I know Josiah's got a gallon of cider in his sleigh. What room you have? You go, get a gallon of cider. One of them, I don't care which one you get. And bring it in here. And we'll have raw oysters." Okay. I got, yeah, good feed.
Did you save any for the stuff?
Yeah, we had all kinds of oysters. Oysters didn't cost much to do now, Yeah, we had plenty of oysters. Somebody said, it was not good stew. I can tell you one thing, Avis Knowles was a darn good cook, too. Pretty good, that's one of the things we used to do. Then, I must tell you a little about the Grange work there. Maud and I was playing system basically. We had to take care of the radiator, let's put it that way. And the roof go up in the attic, see. Well, want no electric lights, all we had was just, kerosene lights. So we take a lantern and take the gate out, put up there. And as we got acquainted. We've been together 56 years, and that's better than someone.
I'll tell you one more. Clare mentioned about Cass when he was a boy.
Yeah.
That was the way we did it. We took a bath in the washtub under the cook stove.
Right.
My father had, I don't know, 8 or 9 cows, and nights he would milk, and I'd take the milk and take it up and put it into the can. Down in the house cellar, we had a tank down there, and we sold cream and drew off the skim milk, so in that tank. Well, I used to help a little because I couldn't milk, but I could carry the milk out. Well, one night I was carrying, I come back with the empty pail, and I don't know how it happened, but the horses tied right along in with the cows, and they were eating. Well, evidently I must have touched one of them with something, but he kicked me. And I thought that was pretty bad on one leg. I didn't like any more milk that night, and it was a Saturday night, and as long as my leg ached, so I didn't have to take a bath.
More laughing a little washed up front of the kitchen stove than you did Dave taking a shower when you went back. I bet we enjoyed it more. And most of us come up hot. You come up and over. I got to tell you a little about Paul when he was a little kid. He had a little dipper, see, and I never milked too many cows anyway. I kept more ox than I did cows. So he'd come out with that dipper, Doesn't in the cow. And they had to go through the barnyard then, and he got pretty sloppy. And Paul come in and dip, and he said, I like milk. I said, well, you're going to get milk in that dipper? And you put a little in, he said, and I'll rinse it out with a little bit. No, I said, you better take that dipper out. I'll wash it out for you. That don't look very good to me. I'll be all right. I said, okay. I might wait a minute a little bit. He was and he'd like it. He come up, quite like it. Someone didn't get in them space. What are you going to tell them?
I guess not.
We keep going.
Well, a lot of things I don't like to talk about.
Another thing, we made up that cheese box. We made ice cream one day. My wife and I committee, I don't know, got the best of Lovejoy, quite a bunch of us, 4 or 5. And we made the ice cream there, see. Yep, Bridges, I guess don't make anything about that. We was making ice cream, well, we ran out of cream. And Nora Fletcher, that's where Maud stayed, that Charles Nora. And yeah, we were married then. And Nora says, Clare, you know what is up there at my house. Why don't you take a horse and wagon and go up and get some cream? I said, okay. I said, going up with me? No, we want Maud here. Well, I said, okay, I can make it alone. I know how the cream is. Mad Deacon. She said, I'll go up with you, Clare. And I said, okay. Well, come on, it was a pretty hot day. I had cream start in with it. And we got down there and the cream was sour. We got spoke to about that.
In the summertime, but I worked for one of the neighbors time for a week. I was big enough so I mowed roads part of the time, but anyway, he paid me $1.50 a day and my dinner. Well, come time to go to school, I had my $10 and something there, and I bought a pair of shoes. I didn't have the $2 or $3 left to go to school on.
I know that is something. I have had back along, and I've hired a good man for $1 a day in the board. When we worked on the road there, I did too. I worked the road went up from I worked down from my dad's place down Main Road, and I worked down the bridges up to the Twin Bridges. That's up Brooklyn Foundation. And we got $1.50 a day, another 9 hours, and we got $1.50 per team. One pair of whatever you had. I know I used to put on. I had a pair of horses and they boogers drove for me. They were down toward the main road, the place and he put his. We had a holly scraper. I guess Clifford didn't tell you about the holly scraper.
No.
Well, you fit the sled into it, and then it, had a shoe on front there, and a hitched up so you put it up on this handle and to tip in a little more. But the advantage was, in our days, when they keep on top of the snow, that's why perhaps we put on a lot of oxen. We must always have a pair of oxen that go through snow, and we keep on top. I ain't gonna tell you how about it in the spring. And that holly scraper, I never cared for it too much. Most of them, they would bear down on the handle, so it wouldn't dig in anyway. It wouldn't dig too much anyway. A stick under the sled, then you put in as much good. Putting me up, that's not quite. I wouldn't know. That year we bought, I used the holly scraper I used them to beat my house down to the main rod. I mean, it's not the holly scraper, not the main rod, but I didn't care for that. I tell you, we didn't earn much more money working in the woods maybe, but it's disagreeable either. Some days it could be pretty hard going up through there. When I know that year I drove 8 oxen there, I stayed with father before I was married. You take some morning, I used to get about 6 o'clock. I was hauling on the plantation up there, picking plantation, and this stuff was all yarded up there. And you take some mornings when you went up through there, maybe 10 below 0, 15, maybe 20, and it'd be quite cool. And I can tell you how all the cold places were too. You go up there right to the side of the cemetery, this side of John Weiss, that was a cold place. You take it up to Manly Green for another one, and you take it up where my grandfather used to live, and just beside Walt Dodges too. Some days we want to get it covered up. But.
Gentlemen, something before that through. Not that I'm all that much younger, but you can remember more about 1910 than I can, because I was born in 1908. I hear what you remember of the comet, because I love the sky, I guess. I've waited all my life to see that comet, and now I guess I'm not going to see it. But I know, but I remember my people telling me how bright it was. How bright do you remember?
Well, I can remember in 1910, I was going to the academy. Well, after school was over for the day, we went down to one of the windows. We could see that comet, the tail and all. That was before I went home from school.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Seems we see it out at night. Father interested in it, I know, but I can't tell you too much about it. But I remember seeing it.
Yeah, I do.
I went up on Bass Hill and I saw it, and it was real bright, and you could see the tail real plainly.
Yeah, I think a lot of time.
That's in 19.
Yeah.
We had a pond, and there were a lot of us out skating on it. When we just looked up and saw that comet, we didn't know what was happening.
Has anybody seen it now?
We just saw it fuzzy like, you remember,
I can't see them.
you remember the golf pro asked people to up there. We went up that night, and he had it aimed in the right direction, and it was just kind of a fuzzy thing. It didn't have any tail
Well, it
yet.
hasn't got to its peak yet, but our Massachusetts is waiting for it. He has a big telescope up to us. He said it hasn't been used for.
Down there below, where the academy was, that big athletic field, I can remember when we used to go skating down there in the frog pond.
Oh. I can't tell. Roland Digg and I went right into it.
Well, they looked at me too.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were skating down, we don't know. We go across it. She wiggled a lot. Then we locked hands, by God, we started, we got out of the way, and then we went bubble. Now, by God, they're too good getting out of place with that. We weren't in the water too deep way up here.
What year was it?
How?
What time of year?
It'll be in December.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah, it froze over.
I
That's where you
guess.
stay. Oh, yeah, sure.
That was different, but how many can remember when the state furnished money to fix the academy over? They put their basement under it. When we went to school up there, you went downstairs in a kind of a dugout place, and that was a furnace down there.
Right.
And it went, I guess, the other way some, but anyway, I know the time we were skating, Leon Look went down in the fell in, you know. He went down all the rest of the day around that furnace.
Oh, no way.
So what I did too. There were good days. I remember skipping school, 3-4 of us down there. Went up on Wilton Pond. Gee, that pond was just a glad, you know. Boy. We'd skate up around the edge, winds blowing off. Around the edge, get way up there at the highest mark. And we'd skate right up in the middle of the pond, and we'd take a cut one night out, and boy,
Yeah,
was we
sail right
gonna.
down there.
Oh, yeah.
They come in to say,
She's up on that pond.
oh, yeah, we went up with our horse. We didn't race, but we certainly went fast. Yeah.
We could just see them when we first moved, when they started way up there,
Yeah.
right from my house.
Yeah.
And they moved there one time there, and Buck moved there. I knew him pretty good, and I could fit Book into the. All right, Book said he had pretty good driving horse, so good. Book said one Sunday, he said, "What do you say, Clap? You and I go down to the horse race. I'm going to race down there." I said, "Go on." All right, said so much. I said, "Yeah, all right, we'll go down." So Book took it hard, and we took his side up. We went down the horse race. Well, I got it down. Bob, anyway, Bob won bag of oats. My God, he was pickled. It was maybe around $1 million. You know. But we had a good time. All the good guys there. We give them drinks that much for them.
Did you have a great big high sleigh so the horse couldn't kick the dashboard? We had a great big high sleigh, and the horse was that like, and he kicked, but he couldn't kick the dashboard. The sleigh was way up off the ground. It was a dandy old sleigh.
Be a mill down at East Woodland. We called it Lothrop's Hall. It's set right in there across the road from the hall, next to the stream. And they used to, I don't know how they did it, but they, you know, the sleigh fenders, that great wide thing you trying to peel right off. As the log, they sawed it right off thin and then shape it up.
Yeah.
They used to make them and take them down to North Chesterfield and had to build sleighs
I
and
know
sell
it's
them.
North Chesterfield is on the sleigh. It's down in the back shed. Beautiful.
Oh, there were some very talented painters of sleighs.
Yes, down in
Oh, yeah.
North Chesterfield.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. They
It
used
was
to make
a
slaves like
gold line, just a.
You talk about losing the dasher. We had a horse. It was going like a devil. I was going to take the wife. We were going grain bean. Paul was a little kid, probably a year and a half, 2 years old. And this horse, I don't know what's something anyway. They got in and kicked the dasher right off the sleigh.
Yeah.
Now, I told Mom to take the kid in the house and I'd be back, so I let this horse go down the road. And I let her come back the road too. They come out and we got into the sleigh and we went right along. Dashboard, well, just saying.
I'd been up there quite a while without it. I bought a milking after I milked 16 cows by hand one winter. And next spring I bought a milking machine, but I had a gasoline engine that ran the machine. But in a year or two afterwards, I went down the swamp and I cut the poles and they put the wire over beyond they got to Walker Hill there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The headlights up as far as that. It took night, and I can't remember just what year it was, but I'd been there quite a while before we had any electricity.
We lived on the second house because we didn't have electricity and telephone up there.
I think it must have been about 75 years ago because my father wired the house for his.
We bought those radium lamps. Any of that there?
Lead, yeah.
Lead in the stuff I didn't mouth it right. I know we had 2 lanterns up in time where we had 80 marks in that time. And we hang up 2 of them.
Watch the chimneys
And,
every morning.
I would say you could see just what it was.
Before you get up to the orchards up there, as I remember it. Right there, instead of going and turning in towards the Brown neighborhood, he lived right there.
Oh,
Yeah, the cottage place.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there used to be a fellow lived up back of the white schoolhouse. You got the white thing up in the little ways there. He wasn't quite all there, little like down, you know. But anyway, he used to walk down to the grocery store once a week, and he'd come back, managed to get about dinner time when he got back to your grandfather's. And once when he was grandfather shearing his sheep, this fella come down, he had your dinner, and he didn't hurry away from the home, but he stood around and talked with it while the father sheared the sheep. But evidently, that sheep had a ewe lamb. So when they got the sheep sheared, they caught knocked the tail, cut the tail off, Sean. And this old fella, he said, Abner, if God Almighty don't know how to make a sheep's tail, who told you?
On the other side of the road, the three shacks in there, Fred Royal lived in one, and I can't think of it, Zickers lived in one, Bill lived in the other one. Well, those kids there, lots of time people be going by, and they go one shack to the other, barefooted, might not have on any clothes. So Leander knows, young Joe knows, come down there one day. It was in the spring of the year. Somebody got a woodchuck laid on the bank in there. And this is at the Riles, and she had to go out, well, they had a house out back, and they went sometime. And, Joe and Leander come out, and one of them opened the oven door, the woodchuck up, shut the oven, shut the door. I couldn't tell about that. I want him that way.
Up in the plantation, Clare knows this better than I do. Up towards Weld, up in the upper part of the plantation, he had 5 small children, quite a family, and his wife was taken sick and died. And he and the children got in the wagon and come down along with the other neighbors to the cemetery up there on the interval where the burial took place. And on the way back home, he was going home, and all at once, one of the little kids began to cry for a mother. Don't cry, dear, don't cry. Pa's got another one all spotted.
They called him Old Ozen.
I guess so.
I don't know, I can kind of mention that might be the one that wants cut all that. And he used long, heavy overcoat, where someone went above. He gone up there in July. The fellow said to him, what was that long, heavy overcoat on the day for? Let me tell you something, mister. I wear that coat in the summertime to keep, and in the winter to keep it in. How's that?